Spoiler alert, Slashers Paradise encourages viewers to watch these horror films before listening to our show. Danny and Lance will go through everything, including filmmaking, dialogue, characters, and even full scene breakdowns when we get excited. Enjoy the show.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain.
Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I had a little drink about an hour ago and it's got right to my head. Wherever I may roam, by land or sea or foam, you can always hear me singing a song. Show me the way to go home.
Boom, boom, boom.
Show me the way to go home.
Boom, boom, boom. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I had a little drink about an hour ago and I got it right through my head.
Hey, welcome to Slasher's Paradise.
Woo!
Jaws. Dun,
Oh my
dun.
God.
Oh man, it's time, Danny. Jaws.
Well, we'd like to welcome you all back to our Slasher's Paradise. Here we are with Lance and myself, Danny, and we're here on the in the Paradise. We parked the Orca just right over there, and we're going to try and talk about Jaws, the movie. You know, the thing about Jaws is a shark movie. I'm not going to do the whole podcast like that.
Oh, man, that would hurt.
But I was doing Quint. I love this movie. Okay. Jaws, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very appropriate that you got your Richard Dreyfuss going on. I'm trying to get my Quint going on. Let me tell you something, Chief. All right, Chief. I value my neck far more than $3,000, Chief. You know, I've got my situation going on. Got my Bruce shirt. As we know, Bruce was the name of one of the mechanical sharks.
Mechanical shark, yes.
I think. And was named after Steven Spielberg's lawyer.
Yeah.
And he also called it like the big dummy or some shit like that. I don't know. Like it cost him a lot of money. You know.
We'll get into that with the budget and all this. This is not a movie I ever really saw as a horror film. I always saw it as like an action movie with some violence in it. But in the last few years, we've been talking about horror movies, and everyone says this is a horror film. So we got to talk about it.
Jaws is up there on any of these lists that you look at as far as like what is one of the scariest movies of all time. A lot of people will throw Jaws up there. I think it's one of those that it's like a blockbuster thriller more so.
Yes.
I mean, iTunes be what it is. It puts it as a thriller in the categories section in my iTunes. What is the rating of this movie?
PG-13?
Let me just say, first of all, when you are talking about ratings, we just did and we're continuing to do the Friday the 13th series, which has been a wonderful treat. Of course, it's a Slasher's Paradise, but it's 4th of July, ladies and gentlemen. We had to really...
Happy birthday, America. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Hey.
Happy birthday, America. Let's have some Mexican beer.
Your voice is hitting a very low register today. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like...
Because you're doing Quinn.
I mean, yeah, I'm doing Quint, but also it's America's birthday. So let's drink some Mexican beer. And we both took a shot of Canadian whiskey. Blended Canadian.
Oh, there it is.
But here's the point of the movie is, you know, a lot of people do view it as a horror movie.
Yeah.
Because it scared people so much. It scared them away from going in the water, and a lot of people are permanently scarred from going in the water.
Yeah, this is something that I actually mentioned in one of our earlier podcasts about how certain scares stick with you, so much so that I know people as children that watched Jaws had a shark toy in their tub and could not handle that. Could not go into the tub.
You could say it's you. It's fine.
It wasn't me. No, it wasn't me. I was related to this person, but like that's how traumatizing this thing is. It's the reason that you would give 5 stars to Friday the 13th because it made such an impact, or Scream because it made such an impact. Jaws made a huge impact on people's lives, but also it was commercialized as like a big hit movie, so a lot more people saw it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, directed by Steven Spielberg, the blockbuster king himself, not the movie chain, the traditional term of what blockbuster means, but it was a big budget movie released by Universal. Had a lot of star power, major star power attached to it. A bit of a passing of the torch, I guess you could say, with who was, cast in what role. But I think not only that, its score has been synonymous with like danger approaching for so long. That John Williams' awesome score, which in the beginning, Steven apparently was like, all right, John, what do you really got for me? Right. When he played it, I mean, like, dun, 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 it's just so cool.
It is.
There is a big orchestra feel to it. So there's a, like the Halloween theme is simple. It's, on like one instrument really, right. But this theme is a huge orchestra accompaniment, and it still slaps so hard. So
it's so well. That's the thing, is it's so iconic. It's just like the Star Wars films didn't have the soundtrack till the very end, and then it becomes this like opera thing. It's this huge ordeal.
Yeah,
the soundtrack is so phenomenal in this, and just adds so much to the shark and the threat of everything around you. And man, there's so much that we can go off on this.
This show can easily be as long as it takes to get to the next 4th of July. One friggin' year, easily. It's got so much in it, so much that like we want to talk about the most important things that stuck out to us. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's a lot of people's favorite movie, period. I think that this movie did for Oceans what I guess Psycho, I might be quoting somebody almost verbatim, what Psycho did for Showers, basically. Yeah. I mean, when you're in the shower, right? And you're in there and you got the soap and the shampoo on it, and it may be in your eyes and you're washing. You got to wash it off because that's when the killer's coming. Remember I said this? I think I've said this before.
Yes.
That's when the killer's going to come, when your eyes are closed in the shower, because of Psycho. Well, this one, first of all, the ocean is scary, Lance.
Yes.
The ocean is terrifying.
Yeah, it's one of my biggest fears, is just going out and watching the horizon. You know what I mean?
I asked one of our mutual friends, Shane, I'm like, because he's a big surfer. I said, dude, how do you do that?
Right.
He's like, oh man, you just got to get on the board, man. And just, no. I don't care how do you surf. I care how do you get out into the ocean.
Right.
Like, have you ever seen? He's like, yeah, man, I saw a shark. Dolphins are the worst, man. Or seals or dolphins. He said, don't let him surf. Anyway, shout out to
Shane.
But it's true. I've always and then you watch these Discovery Channel things about these deep sea dwellers. What the hell are we doing in space? Let's explore our oceans.
We haven't even explored our oceans. That's insane to me, right?
We haven't even found Atlantis. It's down there.
It is. We've only discovered like 5% of our oceans.
Yeah,
that's insane to me.
And
then Jaws is down there. So, man, yeah. And watch like some of the scariest things I've ever seen. Even the Godzilla movie from like 96. The scariest thing to me was the horizon of the water coming up. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what is in the water.
Well, I mean, it's like Godzilla versus Kong. They did that really well. It's like what you don't see. And then when you finally see it, it does not disappoint.
Right.
It's about the dorsal fin, sticking out of the water. I mean, in the beginning, right? Okay, should we do some housekeeping first?
Housekeeping. Okay. Yeah, Danny, give us our pumpkin spice latte for Jaws.
Jaws pumpkin spice latte by Danny Gonzalez. A small island town named Amity Island is being attacked and tormented by a killer great white shark. And this movie centers around a police chief, an oceanography institute specialist, and a expert shark fisherman based primarily hunting down this shark and trying to rid this peaceful town that depends on its summer months for its livelihood to survive, and trying to get rid of the shark in the process so that this town doesn't go under. And all that comes with the association and deaths of that. And that's Jaws.
And our breakdown is released June 20th, 1975. Our original budget was $4 million, but we had quite a few issues with this movie. So it turned out to be $9 million.
Oh, that's a big jump.
Yeah, but I think we made our money back, Daniel.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, I think we did. $472 million box office for this movie. Are you kidding me?
Excuse me? A baking powder?
I had to ask you, Danny, does that sound right when I was doing the research for the show? Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you, man. It's right.
Obviously directed by Steven Spielberg. We're going to go over the cast throughout this whole thing, so I'm going to leave it at that. Our three main guys, obviously, we're going to talk a lot about. Danny, this movie, man, it's just a thing of beauty. I'm excited because, like I said, I did not see this as a horror film for so long. So I'm really excited we get to talk about it because this is one of my favorite movies just overall.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb, and not a limb that is floating in the water because I was swimming in the pond, because a pond is for old ladies. That's a very specific reference in the movie, right? This movie is a horror movie. That's it. I'm going to say it. It has so many horrific elements that are better than some of the best attempts at modern horror today. Mm-hmm. Okay, I've seen some great shark movies. I love a good shark movie.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, there have been some amazing shark movies since Jaws. 47 Meters Down. I think that's a great shark movie.
Ooh, good call.
Even the sequel, too. They're terrifying. It's terrifying to me. The Meg could have been an amazing shark movie.
Could have been. It
was right there. I just think that it didn't let the shark be a shark. And it didn't let the shark wreak havoc. Jaws, Bruce, the great white in Jaws, gets to wreak absolute mayhem because they let this killer shark be a shark.
Yeah.
In the Meg, how is this thing that's humongous? And anyway, I'm not going to go off on the Meg. I'm just going to say that there have been some attempts to make really scary shark movies since Jaws.
Yeah.
But this one, for its wonderful character development, its amazing actors, its great story, the score, the set. The thing, if you wanted to complain about the movie, the thing that it lacks as far as like, does the shark look fake? Of course it does. It's a fake shark. But it holds up for the most part today. Like if I saw... For the longest time, I thought all great white sharks were as big as... I'm going to call Jaws the shark. I'm going to call the shark Jaws. I do that all the time.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not going to call it Bruce or anything like that. I'm going to call it Jaws. Okay, Jaws, the shark. I've always thought the great whites were that big. They're big. They can get that big. But there is something about the way that this shark looks. You know, it's the thing about a shark. Is you look at its eyes, it doesn't seem to be living. It's got black eyes, lifeless eyes, like a doll's eyes. Till he bites you. And those eyes roll over white. And hollering and just screaming and all. Okay, anyway, well, the point is that the lifelessness of the shark is still so terrifying. I think that's why you and I are so attached to masked killers, in the sense because there is something remorseless about this killing machine. Because all this thing does is eat and kill and make baby sharks, and that's it. You know, that's all it does. That's all this. I think I got that right.
Please give me more Richard Dreyfuss. He's my favorite character in this film.
I am convinced that you are going to ignore this particular problem
until
it swims up and bites you on the ass. Now, wait a minute.
In our comparison to horror films, we are doing Friday the 13th currently in our podcast. Something that we talk about with Jason in the first 4 or 5 films is that you don't see him in the beginning of it. There's the anticipation of seeing the actual monster or the killer or whatever it is. And that's what we get in this one, is just the mystery of, we think it's a shark. We know it. We think we know it's a shark.
Right.
But we don't see it for a very long time. We see pieces of it here and there, maybe.
We see pieces of people, that's for sure.
That's for sure. And some blood and some gushing blood in the ocean, which is just worse.
The movie starts off so... I guess innocent. There is a camp on the beach, and there's music and stuff, and this is some young kids, and they're cutting it up. They're having some fun, and a boy and a girl are going to go ahead and run off and maybe do some skinny dipping themselves, and they do. At least she does.
Right.
She gets naked and gets into the water, which is the reason originally that I brought up the rating as to why is it not rated R, because you see full babies you can see total boob nation in this one. And as far as like the blood and the limbs and the terror, it should definitely be rated R by normal standards, but it's not. So it starts off right off the bat, kicking you in the friggin' teeth. It punches you so hard because she is swimming in the ocean and it's lit-ish as far as like the moon is bright. It's using what is they're using moonlight. They're trying to replicate moonlight is what they are trying to do. So you can see her mostly, but it is like dawn-ish, right?
You talk about our one complaint. It's the opening scene for me. Is it's shot where you feel like it's almost early morning, but then you see a sunset on where he is because he's passing out drunk and the clouds are kind of covering the sunset, and then she's out in the water and you can see the sun pretty clearly, that there's no clouds or anything like that, and then she's moonlit at a different angle. So there's all these different times of the day that this one scene is happening. So that's probably the only one complaint that I have of this. But I think the idea is that it's supposed to be at night. The moon and the sunset are kind of coinciding.
Yeah, I can buy that. But the kill of Chrissy, I believe is her name. Yeah. Woof, man, it sets a tone that you better be ready for a friggin' ride, because she is thrashed about the water so violently. The actor sells it amazingly by the terror that she's experiencing. You feel like she's very much being attacked and torn to pieces. She eventually gets pulled under the water, and she's never heard from again until there are some limbs that are discovered later. If you just let that kind of develop right in front of you, you're getting some serene moments, some calm, some playfulness. She then starts swimming. It's nice. There's a calmness about the water, the whooshing, and then just balls to the wall violence, splooshing of water, just pulling her all over the place. They're screaming. She's gasping for air, and then she gets pulled down, and then it's quiet again. Mm-hmm. That, I think, is the scariest part, because if you did not watch, if you weren't in the vicinity, you would have never known that a life just expired in the blink of an eye.
Yes. Into the abyss of the dark, dark ocean. Like we were talking about, so many of the deaths that we see are actually during the day. You can see the blood gushing out. So with the darkness of the ocean and the body just kind of sinking down, you think like there's probably blood coming up, but you don't see it,
Right. I mean, it's the most terrifying opening scene, I think, for a lot of purposes, but mostly because if you put yourself in her position, me, frankly, if I was attacked like that, I better die before I go underwater. Yeah. Because I do not want to drown.
No.
Can you imagine? You are in pieces.
Yeah.
And then you are being taken down to drown.
Yeah.
Like,
three of the worst parts of death that you can imagine. You know what I mean?
I got chopped up. I'm bleeding to death. I'm drowning.
Yeah. And you're overwhelmed by an animal that you can't control and you can't see. It's just horrific.
So Jaws, right? Steven Spielberg.
And the actress you hear her scream, the yelps. It's so realistic. I remember reading this. I can't confirm this again, but I remember hearing this a long time ago in an interview that they were actually pulling her leg from under the water and actually broke her leg. So yelp that you hear is her breaking her leg, and oh God, please help me is legitimately, I am hurt because you broke my leg.
Wow. So, I mean, this plays into a lot of movies of the 70s, especially that are memorable. Of course, like The Exorcist, Ellen Bernstein, when she got pulled down, when Reagan or Linda Blair is yelling, it burns because it really was burning her.
Yeah.
Terrible. Awesome. Yeah. Terrible, awesome stuff.
Yeah, and that's our opening. So from there, we get to open up the town, the sheriff, the investigation into this thing. And it's what I love. It's what we've talked about. Great horror films always have is a nice big town with a lot of rich story.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what we get in this one. A great story, great backstory. This town thrives off the beach for 4th of July, for the summer. So it's a big deal that there's a shark attack, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, it's already been said that they're very rare for these waters. It's off of the New England coast. It's established. We meet right away Roy Scheider's character of Chief Brody. who is a New York cop and has relocated to Amity Island to be the chief of police. And when he's introduced, we see him rolling out of bed with, his wife by his side, and they're letting us know that they're city people. It's like, oh, the sun didn't shine when we first moved in. And she's like, we bought it in the fall. It's the summer. He's like, oh, okay. So like, there's different things that they're like, having to come to terms with and getting used to the island. And islanders, I'm an islander. I'm an islander. That's come from away. Are very protective of their island status, right? So they let him know, you're not one of us, Chief. You'll never be an islander. You're not from here. But it's a very vanilla town. Yeah. To be honest, it's a very, if I can put that town, the style or the people of that town in a color, it would be a pastel color. It would just be a pink pastel Easter color. That's all it would be. But this murder or attack rather has happened, and the chief has been asked to investigate it because the guy that did pass out on the beach was like, hey, I don't know where this girl is. She went in swimming and I can't find her anymore. So while they're combing the beach, this is really early on, they find from the shot her remains, and it's just her hand with crabs crawling all over it. And you know how they achieved that? They had dummy hands, right? But Spielberg thought that they looked so fake and so terrible that they buried an actor in the sand with just their hand hanging out, and they put like crabs all over them. That's so gross.
That's why it looks so realistic. Like I love playing with that kind of stuff. Put the real hands in there, Don't use the fake
don't put me
stuff.
on all these crabs.
Well, especially then. We didn't get to play with props like this until the 80s, really. That's when everyone kind of came home,
Can you imagine if Tom Savini did Jaws?
Oh, I know. That's exactly what I had in my head. Yeah, that's why I was saying that.
We were talking about Tom a lot in our Friday the 13th series because, he's the friggin' man. But, the effects are obviously practical. I don't think there's one digital special effect at all. I don't think they can at this time. Everything is practical. So there are some elements that are going to be challenging. One thing I mentioned, and this shirt, articulates it the best. The sharks were made and put on tracks so they can move back and forth. Apparently there were 3 sharks made. One was open on the left side, one was open on the right side, and then one was the one that, can fully be, like shot, the one that you shoot from the front, I guess, or whatever. Yeah. Well, all these sharks were done and made and assembled in Universal Studios, and they were tested, and they were awesome on fresh water. Then they put them in the ocean, and all the mechanics started seizing, and the sharks would start sinking because that's what will happen to things that isn't tested in salt water.
Salt water, yeah.
Salt water's a bitch, man. That's another problem I had with this friggin' movie. Because I love this movie, but let's be realistic, folks. I love to go swimming in the pool with water that's not going to sting my eyeballs. That's another question I asked Shane. I said, how do you do... Because these people are swimming around in the ocean like they friggin' love it with salt all in their face and stuff. And Shane's like, yeah, you just get used to it. I'm like, no, that's gross.
No, you can't open your eyes under the water.
Apparently, Shane says he just does.
No, dude, I can't see for like 3 or 4 days afterwards.
Dude, if I get a little bit of it in my mouth, I want to die.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so gross. Salt water. So you want to talk about how everyone's like, oh, they're all swimming. They're like, I'm going to go for a swim. No, you don't go for a swim in the ocean. That's gross.
Not in the oceans that we have, especially.
Well, this is the East Coast, so apparently it's supposed to be, I don't know, swimmable. But this is a problem because the chief is like, all right, what does the coroner say? The coroner says probable cause of death from the remains that I see, shark attack. Chief types it up. He says, all right, we got to shut down the beaches. Well, then it's bureaucracy at its best. The town council comes and shuts his ass down and says, I don't think you appreciate, Martin, what we have going here at Amity. So the mayor is saying this along with he's a town councilor, or he's like the paper guy.
Yeah.
And they basically muscled the coroner to change his mind on the cause of death. And the coroner's like, oh, it could have been a boat accident. And the chief's like, you said shark.
Yeah.
Well, I was wrong. I'm like, what the frig is this? The mafia? The pastel shirt mafia?
It's the way he says it too. He's just confused, and the mayor even like boat, right? A boat attack or boat attack. Yeah,
yeah.
Sure.
The boat attacked her.
Yes,
but
a boating accident, and the coroner goes, yeah, sure,
yeah, sure. It's a boating accident.
Whatever you say.
And the chief's like, all right, you'll stand by this. I'll stand by it. So for the most part, Brody's covering his bases. You think, but you know, the shit just started. You know, it's obviously going to hit the fan. And Brody has a problem with it, you can tell. But for lack of better judgment, they open the beaches up.
Yeah, of course.
And, you know, there's kids swimming in the beach and everyone's having a time. One of the best lines is when one of the Islanders comes out and says, we know all about you, Chief. You don't go in the water, do you? That's some bad hat, Harry.
But it's such a great line to kind of open up to him. Like, he's not a water person. He's not a beach person. He's not even a local. So it kind of opens up this fact, like, why would he care? And then he's super paranoid about this shark attack immediately. Well, you know?
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. The second shark attack features one of the most iconic shots in movie history. I'm talking about all cinema, all movies of all time. The little Kittner boy who's out there on his raft gets destroyed by Jaws.
Yeah.
It just feels so comfortable to call the shark Jaws.
I'd be okay with it.
I wasn't the only
because
one,
you've
right?
addressed it. Yeah.
Right.
Because like super fans are like, it's not Jaws.
It's the shark. I'm like, I understand.
Yeah, but we put it out there why we're calling it Jaws.
I grew up calling the shark Jaws.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Did you?
Probably, yes.
I mean, like, people do that, right?
Yes.
They're like, oh yeah, Jaws is going to get him.
Slasher's paradise. We can do whatever we want here. Relax, drink up. Hey,
shoes,
what's the slash word today? Who knows?
Oh boy.
Yes. So opening that up, I love the clash of the chief with the town.
That sets up a nice butting of heads sort of situation. Yeah.
Because once we have this attack happen, which is horrific, and it's the gushing blood that I'm talking about, that we're talking about.
Yes.
And that iconic scene, which I don't know if you ever did this, but when you go to the theater, they play clips from a bunch of different movies. That was always on there.
The gushing or the zoom into the chief?
The zoom in was always on there, along with like the entrance of Darth Vader, and like I think Batman was in there. You know,
so I don't know the term. I don't think it's called rack focus. It's the Vertigo shot, I think. They call it the one that they zoom into the chief when he's on the beach.
Yeah. So the way that's done is actually very easy, and I'm surprised a lot of people don't use it. When they do, it's like not as effective as this film. But you push the camera forward, so you're like zooming in, but it's a physical zoom in, and then you zoom the camera out as you're pushing forward, and that makes the background go backwards.
Yeah.
And your focus on the character go forward.
So they did this in Halloween 4 as well.
Yeah.
And Vertigo is where I think that they would refer to the Halloween 4 shot as the Vertigo shot. But yes, that's the shot of Roy Scheider just kind of seeing the carnage happening and him just reacting to it like, I knew I shouldn't have left these beaches open.
It's the paranoia. That's what he's great at putting that out there, because like I said, his character should not care that much.
No.
I mean, he is the chief of, of police or whatever, but he shouldn't care as much as he does. And then it's verified that this shark is here and it is here to kill.
But yeah, you got to remember who writes your checks. And apparently, I guess that the town is small enough to where they have zero crime rate, pretty much. But in Amity, one man can't make a difference. That's what he says, because in New York, you can't do shit. You'll take 10 criminals off the street, he says, or whatever, and you don't make a dent into the crime rate. In Amity, one man can help.
Right.
And he's got you see his day to day. He's getting calls about these kids are karate chopping the picket fences, or this guy's complaining to the chief that a car is parked outside his house.
Right.
He's like, I need a red zone, chief. That's all I need there. And little things is what that guy that he has to deal with. But now he's got a real big problem. And this might be, I can't believe I'm about to say this.
Oh, no.
But I understand where the mayor's coming from.
Okay.
You kind of have to, I guess, as a kid or as someone who doesn't care about all that shit. When I was watching it, I'm like, this mayor is sadistic and twisted and cruel, and he kind of is a little his priorities mixed.
Yeah.
But the mayor is saying some pretty factual shit. If we close these beaches, this town depends on the summer tourship. If you close the beaches, nobody will come, and we will have to. Well, what does Quinn say? You want to leave? You want to close the beaches, live on welfare to the winter. That's what he says.
Yeah,
because it's true. They will have to. They'll be ruined. So I see where the mayor's coming from. Have you ever gone shark fishing? Have you ever gone like fishing in the ocean?
No, I haven't actually. Only lakes.
We did once, right? We've been. When I say we, is my brother and my family and I. We went right off the surf, and the idea is if you were going to try and hook a shark from the beach, you need to get the line past the sandbar that's like where it drops off, where it gets into deep water.
Yeah.
Well, in South Padre Island where we live, there are I think 2 major sandbars. There's like one that's like normal, and then you kind of like lose your footing, but if you got to keep on swimming, and it's deep, but you got to keep on swimming, then you'll hit the second one.
Yeah.
If you want to get the line past that one. So the way you do it really is you got to get in a canoe, take it out there, drop it, canoe back, and then the line is on the beach and you're just waiting. It's a lot of fun, but canoeing is kind of dangerous.
Yeah, that sounds like the scary part.
Yeah, my brother did it, and I couldn't do it because I think the canoe would just go down into the water. So the canoe went in the water. Danny didn't go any farther. He went, and you know how waves are, man. The first time was a gem, and then we wanted to throw some more lines out, and I'll never forget it. He got turned over, and I was screaming at him, "Swim, God damn it!" He laughs to this day about that. But anyway, the point of the story is we hooked a black tip shark.
Wow. And
it was 6'3".
Wow.
So it's as big as me. Just swimming around. That's the theme from Jaws, the NES version.
Nice. Yeah, I remember that.
So my brother hooked it, and it was a big ordeal. So once we hooked it, and different looky-loos are coming around because it's a big fight and stuff. You're screaming at people because it's going this way down the ocean, and there's just more people that way, right? So you're screaming at them to get out of the way. Point of the whole story is to say this, that we had to go find that shark, and it was then dictated to us. We don't know. It was about like experts who were there. It was told to us that the frequency of that happening again would be very rare for us to even catch one,
really?
Let alone for one to come around. It's just something weird like that. So back to the mayor. I see. He's like, all right, shit happened. She got attacked, and it's unfortunate. Let's just say it was a shark. He's like, it's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
It's just infrequent. So I could see where he was coming from.
Yeah, and like statistically, if you look at sharks, like how the fuck hungry could this Jaws shark be to constantly attack over and over again, and for it to only be one shark? You know what I mean? Like statistically, that's just very uncommon.
Right. But statistics be damned. After the Kittner boy gets chewed up by Jaws, Mrs. Kittner puts out a $3,000 reward for anybody who could bring her the head of the God-blessed shark that ate her son.
That's right.
And, the town's up in arms because that ad went out not only to the local papers, but it went out of the island to people who don't live there. So the whole island was flocked with fishermen, half-ass fishermen, jerks with, explosives and shit. Well, it's a full situation, and not only do they make it there, but Roy Scheider sends out for the representative or the expert from the oceanographer, the expert in oceans to come out.
The ocean expert.
The ocean expert.
Sure.
And that is introduced to us by, Richard Dreyfuss's character of Hooper.
Matt Hooper.
Matt Hooper.
Yes.
Isn't that great?
Oh,
Well, here you have the floor, man.
Well, no, I don't. I'm
Talk
not
about old Hooper himself.
I'm not gonna gush.
You should,
but because it's really the clash of the three characters. Once all these guys do come together, and we're gonna get to Quinn in a minute, but I just loved Richard Dreyfuss in this. He adds such a great sense of humor, but some intelligence. He brings the science to it. We find out that his family's well off. He's well educated. When he does finally meet Quinn, he's tested right away.
Yeah, because Hooper does have a bit of a, learned experience,
right?
Whereas Quinn's a experience. You know what I'm saying?
but Quinn's got the like hands-on bare bones experience,
right?
Where Matt Hooper's like got all the technology and the shark cages.
He's a smart guy,
and he's got plenty of money to kind of dump into this, this endeavor that he's going on.
Right.
But it's the vibe that he brings to the trinity of these actors.
More so than, absolutely. But even so, additionally, it's how he makes an impression immediately. He gets there and he's there to see all the hoopla of all these people hitting the water and loading their boats the wrong way, doing all this stuff the, terrible way, like the wrong way. And he's like, they're all going to die.
Oh my God. Yes.
Just like little things that he says to himself. And then he goes and he meets Brody and he's like, are you the chief? I just want to let you know that these men aren't going to make it out of the harbor alive.
Yes.
Just little things like that, just like add to him and what who his demeanor. He's not going to be afraid to speak his mind.
Right.
He's going to be very well, convinced in himself, and that's what I think is so exciting about his portrayal is that he may come off a little smart-assy, but he will definitely back it up, and he will walk the walk.
Yeah.
So he's not a guy who's like, you got to get in there and you got to check out the waters. He's like, I'll get in. I'll check.
Yeah. That's what I love about him so much. And even Quinn gives him so much shit because he's like a city boy and, he hasn't had as much hands-on experience. But I love that their dynamic so much. And it adds to the Chiefs dynamic as well because he's really hands-off.
Yeah.
He's never had any experience in this. He's from the city, actually.
Well, and he hates boats.
He hates boats. He hates the water. He hates, all of this.
But it's like, it's a nice little retirement pseudo. You can work, but still not really have to do a lot. It's like a kind of, it's a nothing job,
And I guess that's where his drive comes from. That's always the story that's told, right? Is the big city cop goes to the small town, has nothing to do until there's that one big case. And then they know what they're doing or they know where to go or how to drive themselves. So he goes out in the boat with them,
Well, the friendship that's established right away between Hooper and Brody, I fall in love with immediately. It's just Dreyfuss's portrayal and Brody's sort of like man up against it.
Yeah.
Mentality that
That's
they
perfect.
just gel so effortlessly. Of course, Hooper checks out the body, refutes the coroner immediately. He's like, this was not a boating accident. Like he tells him off. He's like, what the frig is your problem, dude? Like she did not obviously die from a boating accident. This was a large squalus, larger than normal squalus. It was a shark. I'm not talking about Jack the Ripper. He's just, he does an autopsy, and when they bring the body out of the icebox, it's like if it was in your household freezer. That's all that's left.
Yeah.
It's a tiny icebox. So when he puts the body for Hooper to examine, it's in a small tin box that he's like, you could already see him like react to it. He's like, well, this is not good.
Right.
If there's that little left. So he refutes it right away. They go to the mayor. They say, look, this is not supposed to, you need to close the beaches down. And that's when the mayor tells them about, it's the 4th of July. Now, if you want you want to patrol the beaches, you do whatever you do to keep them safe. But these beaches will be open. So everyone's at the beach. There's helicopters. There's shark spotters. Everyone is hands-on. It doesn't look fun at all. Nobody's getting in the water. Then the mayor kind of pressures one of the locals to get into the water, and everyone's in there. And then, of course, as many people as you may have looking for a shark, he's always going to find a way to get through.
Absolutely.
He avoids... What a smart animal. He avoids the big crowd and the big ocean, and he goes to where Brody told his son to go, where is it's the pond. It's like the bay. It's like the little area where, it's kind of like locked off. It's like landlocked from the major ocean unless you go under the bridge.
Yeah, there's like a stream that'll go into the main ocean, but it is kind of like separated and safe for people.
And Mike even says, he's like, the pond's for old ladies. He's like, all right, do it for your old man. So Brody thinks he's going to be safe there. Well, of course, that's where Jaws attacks. He attacks a guy who's trying to help the boys get their sail, in order. And that's where you see a very graphic limb fall from the man who got attacked. It just like sinks to the bottom. Very well developed leg. Let me just say, like the dude had killer calves.
Yeah, he really did. It hit the bottom of the ocean like a huge thud too, and it was very realistic for the time.
I float when I'm in the water. Do you
float?
Yes.
Yeah, I float.
Like I can't even. I'd have to blow out all the water from my lungs to sink to the bottom.
Oh yeah.
But if I held my breath, I'll just float like a cork.
Oh, that's good.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah,
I'm naturally buoyant.
Yeah. Hey, all right.
Hey, big words. For me, at least. Anyway, so Quint has a moment at a town meeting where he decides that he's going to say, hey, you want this shark dead? I'll kill it. But it's going to cost you. I value my head more than $3,000, Chief. I'll find him for 3, but I'll catch him and kill him for 10.
Yeah.
You folks need to make up your minds.
Again, what I love about Quinn is he's the local. You all know me.
Yeah.
You know
what I do?
Yeah. You know that I'm the guy you actually want to hire directly. Yeah. But I love that because he's the local. He's the hands-on guy, and it adds to the 3 so well. And he tests the other guys like, I'll do it by myself. I don't need you guys. Yeah.
So basically, before the 3 get paired together or trio together, we have 3 attacks, 3 deaths, really. Chrissy in the beginning, the little Kittner boy, and the man in the boat. In the little, rowboat. It's over, What part I love is that Michael, Brody's son, does get scared so bad he goes into shock and he's at the hospital. And the chief is there. And I don't know how Brody didn't knock his friggin' ass out. Because I'm sorry, if I told you to close down the beach and you didn't, and my kid is now in shock, I will beat your friggin' ass.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a kid, but if you did that to Loomis,
you're talking. Yeah.
Anyway, he's like, come here. I need to talk to you. And the mayor's having a moment. And I told Lance this earlier. The mayor is sipping a cigarette. He's not smoking it. He's sipping it. I know you sip drinks. He's sipping a cigarette. He's just like, and it's just like the smallest flame smoke is coming out. I don't know why that stuck out to me. It's just like little shit like that I just remember from these movies. But Brody basically says, you're going to sign this thing so I could hire a contractor. We're going to pay Quentin what he wants. And the mayor's kind of muttering to himself, I was trying to do what was in the best interest. And he's like, hey, you're the mayor of Shark City. I love that shit. Brody basically tells him, your shit's done, man.
Yeah.
You should have done what I told you in the beginning. Now you're screwed because now 3 people are dead.
Yeah.
And you knew about it since the first one. So
this is where the mayor's humanity comes in, because he even says, my kids were on the beach. He's like stammering and like realizing like, oh, this is on me because everyone told me.
It is.
And now it's on me, and my kids were there. It could have been my kids, and now it's very real. It's not, I'm the mayor of the town. I'm the father of the kids that almost got bit or eaten or killed or whatever. So that brings the reality down, brings the humanity down. All of a sudden the mayor is like, yeah, do whatever we need to do. Let's get this going, so that the 3 guys, now we're going to head out. We're going to go catch our shark. You know what I mean? Like, we've set it up so well through this town, through these characters. It's so rich at this point. We've had a lot of action. Now it's time to get down to the hunt, What
I think this movie's in 2 parts. 3 parts, really. Okay, so it's like, beach time, courting and getting ready to be on the boat and being on the boat in the beginning, and then the deep sea hunting of the shark.
Yes.
I think that's their 3 parts. I like 1 and 2 the most. 3 I don't like as much because 3's sad.
Why?
Because I love Quinn. Oh, spoiler. Guys, people are going to die. And that's what I think makes any horror movie, any thriller, any movie where you're having to deal with death as a real consequence effective. Make your characters real. You don't have to make them lovable. You just have to make them have moments to where they can be related to. Quint has a lot of moments that people can relate to.
Yes.
So does Brody, and so does Hooper.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, so does everybody in the movie. Everyone that is the Brody's wife, Mrs. Brody is she's got the normal concerns of a wife, of a mother. Like, it's everyone has a purpose. They are acted out masterfully. It's just and then I don't even want to attempt to think about what the casting process was for these three. But they got Quint cast wonderfully, Brody and Hooper, and these three men are off to save the day. They're on the Orca, which is the name of Quint's boat, which, yes, orcas, also known as killer whales, are the sworn enemies of sharks.
Yeah, and Orca, I believe, came out before this or after this. There was actually the killer whale movie, Orca. Right.
I always found that funny. You already find that funny that a name of that yes, the animal's called an orca, but it's also a killer whale. And that's like the beloved thing that they have at SeaWorld, featuring our killer whales. I'm like, you couldn't pick something else? And now come and see our manatees. Oh, I love the manatees.
Yeah, manatees
just
are cute. They're like Charles, you know what I mean? They're just kind of bubbling around.
I love it. Then they clap.
Kind of chubby.
SeaWorld is cruel. Anyway, this is not a PSA. So they're out in the boat, and oh my God, we're gonna miss so much because all the quips that Quint has, Quint's quips towards Hooper, towards Brody.
There's a segment.
I know. There's so many. But I think the one that we're all supposed to talk about is the amazing, amazing Robert Shaw monologue. Okay, folks. Some dirt. And you can find this trivia if you look up, and if you're a Jaws fan, you would know this trivia specifically. Robert Shaw had a difficult time with alcoholism especially during this movie. And he'd be drinking during, between takes and, having difficulty doing scenes sometimes. Well, there's a very amazing monologue that was performed by Robert Shaw as Quint that in its first take, he was plastered for. And it was terrible. And I think they even cut on that day, and whatever they had was not usable. And the actor apologized, called Steven Spielberg, and said, "I'll be better." And then the next day came in Sober's a Bird, and in one take delivered this monologue you see in the movie of his story, Quint's story. He was on the USS Indianapolis during the war, and they took a torpedo. When it was a secret mission, they were delivering the bomb, and I was going to memorize it all for you folks and perform it here, but I ran out of time. And quite frankly, it wouldn't be up to snuff with Robert Shaw. It's just an amazing monologue, but you learn about Quint in such a horrific way. A man that he jumped off a ship because, or had to be because the ship sunk, and 1,600 men went into the water, him and all his different classifications and of the Navy. And 316, I believe, or 363 or something like that survived because they were all attacked by sharks. And he tells you about what he knows about sharks, and it's like a very visceral explanation. And the way we open the show is about us singing that song because they all kind of like, come together and start singing together this this song that Hooper starts, singing with them. And it's Brody and it's Hooper and it's Quint, and they're all singing, and then they're comparing tattoos and scars. And then Quint gets very real. And he tells that story about the Indianapolis, about how he'll never put on a life jacket again. And you just think about what it would take for a man who had gone through that to then be a shark hunter. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who had that traumatic experience of seeing countless person after person after man after woman after whoever was there get killed and torn apart and eaten by sharks. And then just that would be his calling. So he has a lot of baggage, but wow, well, it's an amazing monologue, and you all should see it. And then they start singing, and then the shark attacks.
That's what surprises me so much about you saying that you don't like the third act as much as the first and the second, is because it's all the male bonding moments of them coming together, these three totally different guys coming together, having these moments, getting under Quinn's skin a little bit, finding out who he really is, and kind of going into the depth of his character, which is so like lovely. And it brings them all together for their eventual death or their encounters with the shark, with Jaws. So I love the third act so much because of the bonding, because of the hunt of these three guys. We get away from the town, we get away from everything that brought them there, and now it's just them against the shark. You know?
I guess maybe then I should amend that to say that I love all the acts except I don't like the part of the third act, which it's just a real thing. Quint is someone's gonna die, if not all of them are gonna die. It's just the way it is. It's the law of probability. And they're doing lots of. Quint has all the techniques. They're shooting barrels into the shark, so that he could stay. He doesn't get to submerge. It'll keep him above. It'll tire him out, and then they could catch him or shoot him or kill him or whatever. And Quint's taking an approach that he has done with countless sharks. When you meet him or when you see him in his domain, he's boiling jaws to hang up, and he's dealt with different things, different types of sharks. He's got them all. He's killed them all. But every conventional thing that he does as a seasoned shark fisherman fail miserably. There is even a part where Brody is chumming and the shark makes its big, debut. And that line that Roy Scheider says was actually improvised.
Yeah.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Right.
But it's when all has failed. I think they've attached the third barrel to the shark and it goes down. And I think it's either Hooper or Brody that ask him, has this ever happened? Have you ever seen anything like this before? And Quint's just, he's always been in control. And you could see it in Shaw's face, just kind of like start to materialize in doubt. And he just is like, never. No. He's never seen anything like this. So you're like, if the expert doesn't know what the hell's going on, we're all screwed.
Yeah. So yeah, he has a cool calmness about him the whole time. You're right. You just barely see his face drop of like, oh, shit, we're dead.
Oh, But like, yeah. So I fall in love with all of them, really. Like, you definitely don't want Brody to die because you've seen the family element. Not to say that just because he has a family, his life is valued more, but like, Hooper, he's grown on you quickly because of how witty and funny and sarcastic he is. And, he's just been a good friend to Brody immediately. And you don't want Quinn to die because he's just so friggin' cool.
Yeah, he's such a great character. Yeah.
But, there's a lot now that happens. Of course, Brody does get the shark to surface by chumming the water. And then he, sees it and tells everybody what they're dealing with. And, a lot of different techniques like shooting the barrels, and they do eventually shoot 3 barrels into the shark, but he takes them all down. He doesn't care. That's a strong shark.
Well, they shot it so brilliantly too, is because it's sailing around for a while. The shark sail. It's swimming around for so long, and then it finally just sinks down, and that's the moment of like, oh shit! It took 3 barrels down with it. Are you kidding me? Like, where do we go from here? So yeah, it's just so cool to see their interaction with the shark as Daddy's watching the movie as we do the show.
Yeah, the movie is playing behind us, guys. And, I think that's a nice element that we can add here because, sometimes you just got to be reminded of cool moments and like different choices that the actors make. But this is the part where they're starting to bond below deck or like, in the
quarters.
In the quarters, yeah. Or the nickels. I'm not sure. I've never taken a boat exam. But they're comparing scars. They're comparing tattoos. And, yeah, basically scars. And it starts with Quinn showing that he has a fake tooth,
Pops his tooth
and he makes it like a high-pitched squeal. And in a little bit there, he's going to share his monologue about the Indianapolis. And what's so cool is that, like, Hooper, when he hears... he's like, what's that from? Hooper asks him, and then he's like, oh, Hooper is from the USS Indianapolis. he got a tattoo removed. That's what he said. And he was like, "What was it?" It was in Indianapolis. And Hooper, because he's smart and knows his history, kind of straightens up, and he's just like, because he had just made a joke, right, about what he thought it said, and then he was like, "You're on the Indianapolis, like I know about that." And Quinn tells the whole story, and then they start singing. There's a whale, kind of singing out there too. It's a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
And they're getting really into it. They're like, it's the third time they want to go around with "Show Me the Way to Go Home," and Richard Dreyfuss is like, he's like playing the shit out of it. He's like, "Show me the way to go home. I'm tired. I don't want to get." It's like in double take. It's like, and then the shark's like, no, stop singing. Deal with me. The shark just starts like hitting the side of the boat. That's what it reminded me of like Loomis being like,
yeah, it's your dog, your loving dog. Like, I'm over it. It's like Charles scratching at my door right now. Like, hey, I'm over your podcast.
Yes.
Let me in, feed me, love me, get out of here.
Stop singing. I'm going to kill you. That's what Charles was saying. No. So the shark basically, gets all their attention, and then, they've been having a few drinks and apricot brandy and all this stuff.
Of all things, apricot brandy, I thought was an interesting choice.
And then he has Iranian caviar.
Yeah.
I turn on the captions to make sure, because I'm always curious as to what specific things he asks for.
Yeah.
He asked for Iranian caviar, which I've never had caviar, period. I've never dreamed to have Iranian caviar, but he asks for that, and they better get it to him. That's like his demands. But in any case, it's time to start shooting the shark and dealing with the shark and not singing and bonding anymore.
Do you think his tall order has something to do with like his impending doom, that he knows it's coming?
Gosh.
And the fact that like once he's tried everything, he's like, this is the end,
Dang. That is such an interesting take, man. I like that. Almost like a death row sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of like, it's coming. You've asked for $10,000 because it's going to be an impossible feat, and you're kind of ready to go out with this big shark sort of a thing. I don't know. There's just something about his order and the way he's just like, I've done everything. I don't know.
That's definitely something worth like talking about. I think that can definitely play into it, because remember when all the people went to the island and tried to catch a shark, they catch a shark. They catch a tiger shark. A what? I hope you put the GIF right there, because you got to find it. Please, Lance, put it right here.
I'll make it if I can't find it.
What? Right? The guys catch a shark, and Hooper tells them that they caught a shark, not the shark. They catch a shark, and it's a tiger shark, and it's a big. But when they're all posing with the shark on the dock, Quinn's cruising by, laughing his ass off. Do you see him?
Yes.
It's almost like he knows, like, that ain't it. But I think there's a lot to be explored with what Quinn's motivation is and how he, his demeanor, because there's nothing like, we talked about this with one of the Friday movies about an alpha male kind of being humbled by the real alpha.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. It's Rob. It's when Rob is getting killed by Jason. He's yelling, "He's killing me." It's like Quinn's the tough guy on the boat, quite honestly. Even though Brody's the one with the gun and is the chief of police, Quinn's the man. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the right choice as to who should, get killed by the shark.
Yeah.
Because if Quinn dies, he's the shark expert.
Right.
For the most part. Yes, Richard Dreyfuss is like the other shark expert, but a different type of shark expert.
He's the science behind it, but he's the hunter. You know what I mean? Quinn is the hunter, the hunting expert.
You know what it reminds me of? Oh, you could definitely find this clip. It's Samuel L. Jackson in Deep Blue Sea. Have you seen that?
Which part?
Well, right before he dies.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to fight anymore. First, we're going to... The shark just fucking gets him. That's what it reminds me of, like, Quinn's demise. He's like, okay, here's what happens, really. They do catch the shark. They catch a shit out of him. Mm-hmm. They catch Bruce. They catch Jaws. And they're going to, for lack of a better term, lure him into the shallows and drown him. Drown him into the shallows and drown him. And that's what he's going to do. However, he's been pushing his boat way too hard. Also, it's taken some damage from the shark, hitting it. So you have this moment where Quint is definitely like, I'm out of options. I'm out. Like he's taking all the barrels under. I shot him 4 friggin' times and nothing happened, or how many times?
6 times.
He shot him 6 times. And he's like, you know what? The shark is actually following us. This is terrifying. Got it. He's like, well, they're going to drag him into the water. Drag him into the shallow water and drown him in the water and drown him. That's what he's going to do. The shark is chasing him. He's going to go to the shallows and the shark will beach itself. That's what he thinks. But because the orca's been taking on too much water, it's going to start to crap out, basically. Yeah, and they're going to be a sitting duck and they're going to start to sink. And the shark, Bruce, Jaws, is just... Have you ever played that game, by the way?
When I was a kid.
Okay, find it on the emulator if you can. It is worth your time. Like beat the game. It's terrifying, but beat it because of how the big shark is just like.
That's what I remember.
He's just, and it was like unbeatable. But then when you figured out how to play, you were like, oh, this game is easy as shit.
Yeah, all those games back then were like unbeatable. Like the Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th is so unbeatable.
I found Jason. I'm dead. So
you found Jason. You're dead.
And that's it.
It was like my brother and I played Beetlejuice, and I'll never forget. We were in Lubbock. We were at Tech, and we found like we had a Game Genie or the emulator or whatever, and we were playing it. Well, he was playing it, and he beat it. And that's the thing about beating these unbeatable games back then. When you win, it just says you win. The end. Start over. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you better throw me a Super Bowl party after that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but. Their idea is that he's going to lure the shark into the shallows. It doesn't work. So now they're sitting ducks and they start sinking. And Quint passes out the life jackets, man. And he's not going to wear one. That part, man. It's just, Chief just gives them.
You see what I mean, though? Like it kind of ties into the ultimate doom that he knows he's in, you know? So I think that's just something to kind of explore and talk about or think about a little bit more out there. All the listeners and watchers.
Yes, please.
Like, think about Quinn. He knew what he was getting himself into, and that's why he didn't want anybody to go with him.
But there is even if you're the toughest of tough guy and you know, I'm going to meet my end and I'm going to like face it like a man or whatever, you could sense that he's like, no, I don't. It's like he's scared.
Yeah.
So he like, the most unlikely departure of the character, he turns to Hooper and he says, Hooper, what are you do with this shark cage that you brought on? And Hooper explains that if he gets down in the shark cage and can inject him in the mouth with a little needle that's like this attached to a pole. And Brody, I love this part because Brody's like, you're not going to get that shark. And he couldn't even finish it. Hooper just starts, you got any better suggestions? And the next shot is just them putting the boat together. Or the shark cage. Yep. It doesn't go well. The shark destroys the cage. Hooper has to like hide down in the water, which like you think he's going to die. He's dead. Yeah. So it's basically, at the end, it's Chief and Quint on top of the orca. It's already halfway underwater, and that's when the shark makes its big push. Yeah, it breaks through, jumps on the boat, starts sinking it down, and this is it's the worst part. I hate this part each time. It's when Quint is sliding down to the teeth. And it's that he's like kicking and like trying to catch his footing, and it's that like you're trying to grab and he can't. It's just you're going to the end, and oh my god, the shark gets him good, sinks it in, and Robert Shaw delivers one of the most blood curdling screams I have ever heard in my life.
Again, with every bit of Quint's story that we've just told, the possibilities of his story. Knowing his impending doom, the experience that he's had with sharks, the fact that he's watched a bunch of his friends die by shark. And then when he finally goes and thinking it's his impending doom, and when he finally goes and lets out whimpers and is trying to get away from the shark at the very end of it all, That's one of the most heartbreaking like characters for me is when it's the big tough guy. Like, I got it, guys. I got this. And then at the very end, they're like, I don't got this. I got to get out of here. You know, that's the most heartbreaking to me.
Oh, I agree, man. It's almost like maybe he was supposed to die when he on the Indianapolis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like you went your whole life, I guess, trying to face your fears or you know, overcome this demon of being tormented by your friends dying from sharks, and you survive. Maybe he had a little bit of survivor's remorse. It doesn't, I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Survivor's guilt, rather. And how terrifying that, or how terrible that the way he goes out is ultimately from a shark.
Yeah.
But the movie's not over.
No.
Quint is gone. He's been taken down into the depths of Davy Jones's locker. And now we have just Brody, because Hooper just went down into the ocean. He probably died, or he has scuba gear on, but he's down there or he's not. So it's just Brody on a 3/4 sunken Orca.
Yeah.
Just about?
Yeah, just about 3/4.
Yeah. So earlier in their endeavor, Brody, who's the least experienced seaman,
wow. Don't fucking wink at me.
pulls the wrong rope, and a lot of compressed air tanks start to spill over. Damn it, Martin! This is compressed air. You don't be careful with these things; they're gonna blow up. Oh, that's good to know. I didn't know about that. So there are some compressed air tanks that are on the boat, and Brody he's down to his last thing. He's tried to like stab the shark because they tried to get him in the quarters, right? It's something about the way the glass breaks when the shark goes into the quarters, right? It's like soft. It's like, it's just kind of like, anyway, Brody's basically on the crow's nest at this time. And before that, he throws compressed air into Bruce's mouth, right? It's kind of like Loomis didn't have, and my dog didn't have one tooth come in like ever. He didn't have a molar grow in. Aww. So whenever he chews, he has to chew on one side. And so he's like, you know? So when Bruce has got the compressed air in his mouth, it's like,
just like Loomis.
Yeah, he's like, okay, thank you. I'm going to go into the water, right? And now Brody's like, the last thing I can do is take this old-ass Civil War rifle and just try and make the most miraculous shot I can, hoping that when the shark comes up to me, it opens its mouth.
Yeah.
No, but for real.
For real. This is what we just talked about with like Friday the 13th Part 6 is like, imagine like your idea is I'm going to put a chain over Jason's head.
Yep.
And sink him to the bottom of the lake. That obviously means contact. That's a very small, I mean, it's a thick chain, but it's a very small window of success here. You know what I mean?
It is a small window of success. That is the best way to put that. But Brody's going to give it a shot. And because it's a movie and he's going to get that 1 in a million shot, he shoots at the shark quite a few times. And it's not till he delivers. If you're going to make the shot, the game-winning goal, or the Hail Mary pass, you gotta say something right before it. Nobody told him that until he finally clicked to Roy Scheider. He's like, I gotta say the line, and then the shot will work. So he's got the shark in his sights, and he's saying for the audience all the things that Dreyfuss or Hooper told him already. Come on, just blow up. Just blow up. He just keeps on saying it over and over again. We're like, yeah, we get it. Just shoot the thing. Shoot the fucking thing. And then he shoots it. Smile, you son of a bitch. And on bitch, he hits the bitch, and the whole bitch explodes up in this bitch. Hooper!
That was a wonderful description, Danny. He used the word bitch 6 times in a sentence.
I used bitch 6 times. Hold your course. Oh my God. Hooper, ain't you watching? Oh man. Oh, nice little tidbit. Richard Dreyfuss and Robert Shaw didn't get along at all.
I can imagine.
They didn't get along at all. They could not stand each other, which plays pretty well on screen.
I think so. Yeah, definitely. I mean, their chemistry is bizarre and great at the same time, and it's their characters as well. One thing we didn't even mention is some of our favorite things back all the way to the town of Amity, and some of the shots of the locals are just bizarre and hilarious. And I send it to Danny every time I watch the movie now. I'm going to like check out this guy and check out this guy and check out this lady. And like there's just close-ups of people that are obviously actual locals that were not actors. Like I'm on camera.
The harbor master who just walks out, he's got a pipe in his mouth and he's got this like shit eating grin, like smile, just like
it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as he walks away.
There's an old lady who reacts to Quinn scratching the chalkboard. She's like,
oh yeah. It's one of our favorite things to share with each other in the horror community. Yeah. You should share it as well because it's just hilarious, some of these close-ups. But we get to the end of the movie and it's just I'm exhausted. I'm sweaty.
Oh, I'm very much sweaty. It's a whole situation. Brody killed the shark, blew it up bad. And he's like, all right, well, at least I'm out here with no shark. And who is still alive but his friend Hooper was hiding down in the bottom like the smart man that he is.
He said, fuck that shark.
Yeah, I would definitely be. I was like, oh, well, sorry. I'm going to hide down in this reef. And when it swims away, I'll swim away. Yeah. You know, that's like so smart.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
But you know they see each other and there's a nice little like moment. They're happy to see each other, but you know they're share that Quinn didn't make it, and they just paddle home on this like piece of wood or something, and it's
a couple barrels and like
barrels.
some planks.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. No land in sight as far as there's a little bit, but.
And the seagulls are pecking at the remains of the shark. It's just like, it's the end. It's the end of a very traumatic experience. They killed the shark. They can go on with their lives. And hopefully this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship between them two. But the chief has saved the day and saved the town.
That's it. And I want my sequel still.
You want? There are sequels.
Well, but I need Matt Hooper to come back.
So you're mad because Hooper didn't come back, but Roy Scheider did.
Yeah, and he's great, and Jaws 2 is okay. And
Francis Show, where the hell is Francis Show? What's up? That's from part 2.
I know. Yeah, I just want Hooper. You know,
Hooper is the man.
Who's your favorite character of this, Quinn?
Quinn's my hands down favorite.
Yeah, he's the character.
Robert Shaw is the friggin' man.
Yeah.
Let me just say, Lance, I am so glad that we penciled in Jaws to do for 4th of July.
Yeah, this was kind of the plan for like the past year. I was like, we have to do Jaws. We have to do it.
But it just like snuck up on us.
Yeah.
Like they're creeping up on you. Jaws is one of those that like, it is a 4th of July movie. So much that, you know what I'm going to do, Lance? I'm going to go watch Jaws while on a boat on the lake.
That's right. You're having some great experience tomorrow.
I'm going to go check it out.
On the 2nd, or whenever.
Or I already did it. Yeah, I'll report back to you guys how awesome it was. It's going to be on the lake and we're getting a boat, my fiance and I, and a awesome other couple, and we're going to watch Jaws on the lake, man.
That's awesome.
Isn't it cool?
Just sounds amazing. That's a thing in Texas, right? They don't they do that all the time?
They do. They also do Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think, at the actual house.
Oh, that's cool. What's the name of the event you're going to?
It's called like Bucket Listers. LA Bucket Listers or something like that. And they do like the drive-in there, and then they do, this is a new thing. So it's just like called the Lake Drive-In, basically. But it's part of the Bucket Listers group. They just organize these things all over LA.
That's very cool.
Isn't it?
Can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
I mean, I hope I don't fall in, but we're also taking Loomis, and they said even the dog has to have a life preserver, and we got him one.
Oh, that's so cute. Is there a fin on it?
No, but once we put anything on him, he just doesn't move.
He's one of those.
He just like stares at us like, "What are you doing to me?"
Oh
anyway,
my god,
man, Jaws, dude. there was so much that we didn't even touch on. This movie is amazing. We love it. I know you all love it. Jaws is one of those that, like, if you throw it out at a party as, what's your favorite horror movie or scary movie or thriller or just whatever movie?
Yeah.
And you throw out Jaws, people will, I respect that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Just the way it is.
Definitely. I'm so glad we touched on it at the very least. Like he said, there's so much more we can go into. We just try to like touch on little things, you know?
But folks, hit us up in the comments. Make sure that you are letting us know what other shark movies that you enjoy. If you have any favorites that we didn't mention, and what you think of Jaws, and what you think of us, and what you think of our Jaws attire. I don't know if you guys got it. I mean, maybe I have to put my hat like this. I've had in my life more than $3,000, Chief. Hey. Well, it proves one thing, Mr. Hooper, right? So it's kind of like this. Yeah, that's it.
That's definitely not it. You need a little more salt water on your hat, actually, and then a little crooked.
Yeah, city hands, Mr. Hooper. Give me your hands. Give me a sheepshank. What?
So Jaws is a great 4th of July movie. Any others that you have to watch on 4th of July?
Uncle Sam.
Okay.
I threw that out. Sleepaway Camp.
Okay.
And probably one of the Fridays, honestly. You know, it's summery.
Okay.
It's a summer movie.
Good call.
What about
you? No. One thing I'll throw in there, it's probably in the same realm as Jaws sort of a thing, but it's got to be Independence Day. You know what I mean?
Oh, you want to talk about Mother. No, you want to talk about non-horror.
But is it?
Independence Day? It's sci-fi.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I'll give it to you because of Release Me.
Yeah, there's horror elements.
Scary.
We're gonna have a whole podcast about this one day or one episode where we just talk about movies that are not horror films that we consider horror films. So, but Independence Day might be on that list.
Sandlot, The Beast is Scary.
Yeah,
I love the Sandlot. That's definitely a 4th of July movie.
That is definitely.
And now wait a minute, I'm talking about America. Anyway,
I need to watch that. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh no.
Well, when I edit
wasn't a Pepsi commercial. Oh, you edit it?
When I edit it, you'll hit it.
Yes! Technology.
All right, Danny, I know I don't really have to ask, but how many Jaws shark teeth do you get?
Shark teeth. I don't know what the hell that is. 5. Come on.
5. Yeah, it's 5.
It's going to get 5
I didn't have it
Jaws. Jaws is going to get 5 shark Jaws.
Jaws.
From
those just be Jaws sharks here and there.
5.
They'll be coming up. Yeah,
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. It's hitting our tournament at the end of the year.
Oh yeah, gosh, I gotta remember that. I gotta stop giving out these 5s to these other movies. But you know, there has to be some that are gonna lose, and so that's why you give the 5s to the non-contenders. So they could lose.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, happy 4th of July, everyone. America, peace. Blah, blah, blah. That's Danny. I'm Lance. Reminding you to
lock your doors,
bolt your windows,
and a what?
And join us next time in our Slasher's Paradise. Thank you.
Farewell and adieu to fair Spanish ladies.
Hey! Thank you everyone for watching Slasher's Paradise tonight. Please go down to the subscribe button right down here and click subscribe, and make sure you turn on your notifications so that you know when we go live next time on YouTube. Danny.
And if you prefer an audio version, look us up on Apple Podcasts, find Slasher's Paradise, listen to us obviously, and leave a 5-star rate and review. If you don't know what to say, go ahead and put in a request of a movie you'd like for us to talk about. We'd love to hear what you think, guys.
Yes, please. And if you would love to see more of our beautiful faces, head to facebook.com/deadcandyfix. Dead Candy is the producer of Slasher's Paradise, and we will see you there, and we will see you next time. Here's to you guys.
This is Slasher's Paradise. Sorry, I had to work that in.
And I'm going to drink on that.